Welcome to Skypodcast.
A Spotify exclusive. Okay, love.
Oh, okay. Already. I'm so hungry. Okay.
Your fault because you had...
I know, it took a long
alam mo,
time.
nagpapaglam team siya just
I
for
know,
the podcast.
For the podcast, because I love you
Oo.
guys so much.
Oo, ako nagpapaglam team din ako.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Today we are talking about childhood trauma
Mm.
and how we blame our parents for a lot of things in our lives.
Yes, sometimes sakto, sometimes hindi. Pero especially after the pandemic, parang, or during the pandemic, parang naririnig ko all the time. Like, I hate my parents for this one, I hate my parents for that one. The people that sometimes work with us, parang nagko-complain sila about their parents because parang mas nagiging explosive or nagiging ano yung relationship kasi palagi na sila tuloy magkasama because of
Because
the
of the
pandemic.
whole work from home thing.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
tayo naman din, kahit way before that, me and Chris would have certain, parang nagpo-podcast din kami paminsan usually pag nagda-drive kami. Tapos,
A lot of people ask us actually in the podcast, do you guys like plan what you have to say? Do you guys have a script or anything? I'm like, no, this is really how we talk.
yes.
It's
and
just sometimes we record it for you guys to hear, but this is with or without a microphone, this is how we talk.
usually, yung mga podcast topics namin is usually some conversation we've had before or parang nag-uusap kami, this would maybe...
Before we sleep or in the car, going to a
sasabihin
restaurant.
Namin, let's write it down. This would be a good podcast topic.
Yeah.
Yung parang ganyan. So, this one came from us talking about our parents and parang how it affected our personality.
Yes.
Ano yung mga angst namin, ano yung mga complaints namin about our parents. Pero, looking from the eyes of
A parent now. Yes.
parang, oh yeah. May mga
Makes
realizations na ganyan. And I'm sure, my mom, kasi paminsan nagpaparinig ako sa kanya, alam mo mami, dati, nung bata ako, palagi kasalanan ko kasi ako panganay, palagi kasalanan ko. Like parang, and my mom listens to this podcast, so parang mas may explain ko yung side ko and yung mga
No, wala siyang
realizations
choice
ko.
kasi she can't talk, she can only listen.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of the times we really blame our parents and our childhood for the situation that we're in now. And I hear this a lot. I mean, we do it. We're millennials. And a lot of my older friends do it also. They're Gen X ba yun? Before millennials. But I feel like even more so now sa Gen Z. Napansin ko lang. And napag-usapan din namin sa friends ko. But correct me if I'm wrong.
I
syempre.
think even more so now because the
Yes.
world is just more quote-unquote woke.
Yes.
And ito talaga dapat. Ito
But
talaga yun.
before we dial down on that, let's talk about first our experiences and why we think that
Sige.
we
Go.
should blame our parents or why we blame our parents.
No, ganito. Sabi ko kanina, panganay ako. This is one example. Napanganay ako and like I kept being blamed for everything. When I don't share, kasalanan ko because panganay ka ikaw marunong, ikaw mas matalino, ganyan.
This is your angst.
Or pag nag-away kami ng brothers ko and kahit sila yung nagsimula, panganay ka you should be the more patient one, you should be the more educated one or parang mas mature ka dapat. And I see that now when we reprimand Scotty na parang, Scotty, share naman your toys. Pag, let's say, for example, Sevi is playing with one of his toys and kukunin ni Scotty, I was playing with that. No, Scotty, you play with your you let him play because ikaw yung panganay So,
He doesn't understand yet.
he
He's a
doesn't
baby.
understand yet. So parang nagsicycle lang din siya and nakikita ko yung, wait, this is what exactly I told myself I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we don't understand this side of our parents and
Yeah.
so we blame them for it.
Yes.
But when we get to that point, okay, now we are where they were at.
Yes.
It makes a little bit more sense,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, right, as parents, you're only really trying your best. No one's perfect.
Yes.
I can say a lot of things about, I wish my parents did it this way. But at the end of the day, they gave me so much more than I could ever, hindi naman expect. But parang, madami din silang okay na ginawa. But
Yeah.
it's so easy for us to pinpoint the things that we didn't like.
Yes. It's easy, like, just with being human nature natin, it's easy to pinpoint what is going wrong versus what is going right.
Yeah.
And us, parang paminsan, because, especially when we were younger, we put our parents on a pedestal na parang sila talaga yung perfect dapat. Di ba? And hindi natin nare-realize na tao lang din sila.
Yes, exactly.
And-
I was just talking to my friend actually, and she was like, we were really close friends growing up, childhood friends, and she always had issues with her parents growing up. She would
Okay.
always blame them for one thing or another, whether her dad wasn't present in her life as much as she wanted, or the mom she felt was kind of didn't want to spend time with them or something, wanted to leave all the time. And now that she's, in her late 30s, she has her own family, she's reconnected with her parents, she told me, you know what? All those years that I hated my mom, all those years that I blamed her for not wanting to spend time with us, I thought she just wanted to leave and leave us, her children. I realized it was like her actions were a result of the circumstance she was in. She was unhappy in her marriage, she felt unloved, and she wanted to escape. She wanted to go somewhere else. And it had nothing to do with me. But everything that she was doing, parang you look at it from the lens that you are in life right now, if that makes any sense. Right? So now she's forgiven her mom and she's like, I totally understand everything that you did back then. All the decisions that you made, I get it. Because now that I'm in this position with a husband and with
Yes.
kids, if I were treated the same way, I would do the same thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So most of the time when we blame, it's because we're looking at it from a certain lens na hindi pa tayo umabot sa phase na yon. We're not walking the same path.
Yes, and ang dami pa nating aspects na hindi natin naiintindihan.
Exactly.
Like, we don't know about making ends meet. We don't know about relationships when we were growing up. We don't know all these things that our parents have to juggle just so that sometimes they hide things from us so that
To
gusto
protect
nila-
our peace. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Like, we always see exactly what you said earlier. We always see and pinpoint all of these bad things that our parents do. But honestly, now that we're parents, I see that we are sheltering our children from a lot of things. You know,
Yes.
di ba?
Yeah.
And possibly one of the reasons why, for example, let's just say you're mad at your dad because he is always busy and he won't play with you. Something like that. Like, oh, wala kang time sa akin, wala kang time sa kids mo. But maybe your dad is dealing with something really stressful.
Yes.
In order to provide for your family. He doesn't want to bother you with it. Alangan you're playing there, tapos sasabihin niya, oh, may utang tayo sa bangko or something. Diba? So there's a reason why these things happen, but it's so easy for us to kind of put the blame game on.
Paminsan nga there are times when our parents like mess up talaga.
Yes.
Siyempre, tao lang naman din sila. But yun nga, yung pinoproject natin sila na this thing that they're supposed to be perfect and dapat yung mga sinasabi nila, they have to be parang congruent with what they say and everything else. But I also feel like sometimes, because of our circumstances, which we cannot explain as kids, parang biniblame na natin sila for no apparent reason at all other than making ourselves or justifying our actions. Yung paminsan na nag-act out tayo because my parents are doing this, my parents are doing that. Paminsan, now that I'm looking at it from a different lens, yung parang, paminsan we say, my parents didn't love me enough. Pero, there's also the other side of the coin. Grabe kasi nila ako talaga inalagaan eh. Na
My parents loved me too much.
Nasa-spoil nila ako, they loved me too much. So, there's no perfect middle ground. There's no perfect, just like there's no perfect human being, there's no perfect way of raising your children. And
Na wala silang masabi.
Yeah. It's just about you as the kid, parang detaching the blame game from yourself, from your parents, if you want to grow and move forward. Like, parang everything that your parents do should be separate from who you are right now, especially if you're trying to mature.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like I had the most growth.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the mental mindset of, okay, I'm cutting off my parents. Meaning, when I have a problem, I'm gonna try to resolve it my way. Yung parang desperate na talaga ako kung sila na yung i-approach ko.
If you guys want to hear the full episode, you can
Check us out on Spotify.
Spotify.